Today we're going to go over a very simple and very effective plan called Jim Wendlers 531. Now with this I'm going to go over how it's progressed. I'm going to go over a 4 week block, which would be block 1, and how to set up your next week block. So this can be ran 16 weeks straight. It's something that's very simple. Anyone can do. It has it all that a program should have in terms of progression, frequency, accessory work, minimum requirement, etc. So again, for the sake of this, I really want to just keep it simple. All of this information that I'm putting out, I want it to be easily interpreted. So I'm just going to go over the basics here and not kind of give you the real nitty-gritty details like the accessory work. I'm just going to draft over that, but I will go through the minimum work requirement here. So Jim Wendlers 531 program, again, extremely simple and effective. So it's a very straightforward, specific progressive plan working from your 1 rep max, which I will refer to as 1RM from now on. It gives you a minimum work requirement, which I really like. And what that means is basically you go in on days you're not feeling it, days maybe you don't have time, or days where things aren't just going well. You have just a very simple thing you can do and leave the gym, and you're still following the program without having to do 6 or 8 exercises. You can just do this one and leave. Traditionally, it's a 4-day program. So where to begin? Typically, we start with 4 main compound lifts. So for this argument, we're going to pick the 4 that he himself would pick, Jim Wendler, when he is programming them, or at least on the example that I've seen before. So it's a squat, bench, deadlift, military press. Again, throw in any 4 lifts. As long as they're 4 main compound lifts, it's going to work fairly well, that are measurable. So get your 1 rep max in each lift. I would advise doing this over the course of a week, not in one day. So I wouldn't go in a 2-hour window and just try get your 1 rep max in your squat, bench, deadlift and press. No way. I would say, okay, in this program, let's say I'm going to do Monday squat, Tuesday bench, Thursday deadlift and Saturday military press. They're the days I would test them, and then I would begin my program the following week. So with this program, we work off your technical failure, which is 90 to 95% of your 1 rep max, often referred to as your training max. So technical failure is 90 to 95%, which I will talk about now. So with this 531 method, we don't hit that 100% lift, or we don't even work off that. So going through an example, you test your 1 rep max on test week, and your bench press, you get 100 kg. So pick somewhere between 90 to 95 kg as your new max, your new training max. Let's say I give you set number 1, 75% on week 1 for 5 reps or whatever. That's not 75 kg. We're not getting 75% of 100 kg. We're getting 90 to 95% of the lift, which is 90 kg to 95 kg. And then we're getting 75% of that. So 75% of 95 kg is 71.25 kg. Now on week 1, if you're not hitting this on week 1, you need to bring that back down to your 90%, which would be 90 kg. So if you cannot hit that, move down to 75% of 90 kg, which is 67.5 kg. So again, there's about just over 3 kg in the difference, or in or around 3 kg in the difference. I would say start with 95% always as your 1 rep max, or 1 rep training max, and work from there. If things aren't going well in the first week, move down. So some extra notes. Minimum work requirement is the 4 days and 4 lifts. That is it. So if you go in on a Thursday and you do a deadlift and you're really not feeling it, you don't want to progress on to your accessory lifts or whatever, you leave it at that. With this program, you can go in and do your squat Monday, bench Tuesday, deadlift Thursday, military press Saturday, do the sets and reps given in the program and leave without doing any accessory work. That is the minimum. So it's a very doable program. After your main lift, you can jump into any accessory work you want, within reason, of course. So the goal of these accessories is to help your main lift at the end of the day. So if your main lift is bench, think about push movements where you're moving a weight or an object away from your body. Then think of the muscle groups involved: chest, shoulders, triceps. Again, the days you squat, you'd want to look at your hamstrings, glutes, calves, lower back, things like that, quads. So just to throw in some accessories, For bench press, we could look at some single arm overhead press. We could look at some floor press for the triceps. We could look at tricep pull aparts, banded pull aparts. We could look at chest flies. It's basically, as long as you're working those muscles that lead in or help the main lift, that's kind of the minimum work requirement. You don't need to go mad there. You don't need to start doing 10 different exercises. Do your main lift, pick 4 to 6 accessories and just go with it. I would always include some antagonist work in the accessories. So if we're doing bench, I would include some pull work in the accessories for your upper back, lower back, things like that. Just even 1 or 2 exercises out of the 4 to 6 accessories. Keep reps between 10 and 20 in those. Programming. So week 1. This is using the 100 kg bench example with a training percentage of 95%. So all of these percentages are calculated off of 95% of 100 kg, which is 95 kg. So you've got 3 sets in every single week of this program, in every single exercise every day. You've got 3 sets. Set 1, 65%, you do 5 reps. You move the weight up to 75%, you do 5 reps. You move the weight up to 85% and you do 5 reps minimum. You can see I've given the weights at the side. So overall, this will give you a minimum of 15 reps at an average of 75% of your technical 1 rep max, or your training 1 rep max. So what does this mean? This minimum is what everyone kind of asks about. I'll explain it a bit further. But if you have more in the tank, push for more in the tank. At that 85%, if you can do 6, 7, 8 reps, go for it. But you need to be getting the 5 reps. On week 1, if you're not getting the 5 reps, you need to drop the weight all over the board and go again. Week 1 should be doable before you move on to week 2. Week 2, we move into 3 reps per set. So again, using the same percentages or same idea, working off your 95%, we go for 70%, 80% and 90%. So you can see here up on week 1, the average is 75%. On week 2, our average is up to 80%. So 70% for 3 reps, 80% for 3 reps, 90% for 3 reps. Again, minimum. If you can push that 85.5 kg a little bit further, push it a little bit further. Then we go into week 3. And this is where we go for the 5-3-1. So we did 5 reps on week 1, 3 reps on week 2, and on week 3 we go 5 reps, 3 reps, 1 rep. The average here is up 5% again, so we're up to 85% for a minimum of 9 reps, and we go 75% for 5 reps, 85% for 3 reps, 95% for 1 rep. Again, the 1 rep, if you have 3 or 4 reps in you, push them out. If not, get that 1 rep. What I really like about this program is a deload week is included, and it's a must in order for you to move on. It brings the average down to 50%, which is great as well. So 3 sets in compound, very simple again. We go 40%, 50%, 60%, all for 5 reps. The last one is a 5 rep minimum, which means you can push it that little bit further. I'd like to push that towards quite a high volume and just get 1 good blowout in the week like that. But if you're feeling the effects of the training, you've been doing lots of accessory work, just keep it to 5 reps. It kind of depends how you've been training the 3 weeks before and how things have went for you. So if things have went fairly easy and you feel like you have it in you, push those 5 reps in the last set. But if you feel things have been heavy and you're just about getting the minimum requirement, just push the 5 reps minimum requirement and move on. So the averages of effort go from 75%, 80%, 85%. That's week 1 to week 2 to week 3. Then we drop back down to 50%, and that's where we start to build again. So after a deload week, and explaining the minimum. So after a deload week, up the lifts 2% for phase 2 and go again. So week 1, set 1 was 65%, which was 61.75 kg. Again, people get really caught up in this. 61.75 kg, for most of you, just pick 60 kg or pick 62.5 kg. I would always come down a bit and go for the 60 kg because you want to always be progressing and working up. So we're upping that to 67%, which is 63.65 kg. So again, if you were doing 60 kg, now move up to your 62.5 kg. If you were doing 62.5 kg, try move up to 65 kg. Just try round it up if it's giving you an awkward number. So last set always says minimum for good reason. If you have more in the tank, go for it, which I talked about. You can measure accordingly as you have a minimum requirement. So you know the minimum you're getting is in the first week, you're getting 15 reps at 75%. That's good. Next week, you're getting 80% for 9 reps and 85% for 9 reps the third week. So the percentage is moving up. The reps are staying the same in week 2 and week 3. But that's the minimum requirement. So you're always trying to at least get that. And it's very easy to measure. So programs often have a max, but minimum is safer and easier to progress. It's also much easier to measure. Some days you just mightn't feel it, and going for max reps, you might get great on week 2 and terrible on week 3. Whereas if you're always hitting the minimum or leaving something in the tank, you always have more room to progress, and it can be easier to manage your volume, measure your volume, and make sure that you're progressing week to week and not just randomly hitting good sessions here and there. So minimum is safer, easier to progress. Why program like this? What gets measured gets managed. So the progression is very consistent, and people can run this in 16-week cycles or more. So you might do your test on test week, and you might run that 4-week cycle for 16 weeks, and then you might test again and start again. You could run it for 12 weeks, you could run it for 20 weeks, whatever you want. People traditionally do it for 16 weeks. So what I really like about this, it has lots of freedom and accessory work, and you can still include the rotation work. So what that means is let's say, okay, give you an example. Week one you have bench press is your main lift. Then you go into seated row, shoulder press, chest flies, and tricep pull aparts or push aparts. You might change them every second week. So although you're doing the bench every week, the next week you might do lat pull downs, standing shoulder press or seated shoulder press or an unsupported shoulder press. Then you might do, instead of chest flies, you might do floor press. And then at the end you might do some skull crushers with a dumbbell instead of tricep push downs. And then you can rotate those. So week 1 is the same as week 3, week 2 is the same as week 4, and you can rotate those. And it kind of, if you're looking over a 16-week cycle or longer, it's great because you're not getting bored. Every session is going to be different, or at least every 2 weeks. As long as you're progressing the main lifts, that's all that really matters. But I like working off rotation work. It keeps things interesting, and you can kind of not get bored of doing the same thing. Because if you're doing the same session or a lot of the same exercises for 16 weeks or variations of those, it can get quite boring, especially when they aren't the most important part of the program. Because you are going to be doing 16 weeks of, let's say, bench, squat, deadlift, and overhead press. So keep those consistent, let the rest fluctuate. Now there is a difference between rotation work and random work, and people often confuse these. So people say they're doing rotation work, but there's no thought process behind it. They're just kind of throwing in random accessories. They should still have purpose, but they can be programmed in a way where they're rotated. If you're someone who loves a routine, knows exactly what you're doing, maybe you want to do 4 weeks of lat pull down as your second lift and then 4 weeks of seated row. Do you know what? That's up to you, but I would include some rotation or some progression over 4 weeks, that something's changing. Sessions can get very boring very quickly. So it's always achievable due to the minimum work requirement, which I love. Unlike most programs, this is a deload week automatically programmed. So a lot of the programs you get online, they might just say deload week and say, cut volume in 50%, but no one actually does. But here on week 4, it's programmed, it's listed, it's simple. Just do it. It's part of the bigger picture. It has slow and sustainable progress, especially for in-season field athletes. So what I like about that is when you get back on the pitch or you get back to your sport, there is a trade-off. There always will be a trade-off. Something's got to give, and you might lose a bit of strength quite quickly as you give so much energy to the sport. But what this does is it allows you to just kind of build up slowly and slowly and slowly throughout the season. Traditionally, let's say I could be into my season in January with Gaelic football, and that might play out till November, depending on how the league goes or how things are dragged out or how far the county team goes or whatever. So this is a way of progressing over that, because really if I'm going from January or February even and I'm going all the way up to August, I don't have much of an off season. There's 3 months solid there after a bit of a break either end. There might be 3 months of progression, and you might need more, especially as a younger athlete. You might just need to say, okay, I need to spend a bit of time building my strength, and this is a very easy way of doing it without the detriment of your on-field sport. Obviously, sometimes 4 days a week isn't going to work. Sometimes if you're on the pitch the other 3 days or 4 days, you might need to cut that down to 3 days. This is just traditionally done 4 days a week. This system can still be put in place 2 days a week or whatever. Technically, it wouldn't be Jim Wendlers' program then. It would just be a random one, but it would still work to some extent, definitely. What I really like about this is minimal equipment. So barbell and plates could get you through this program if you did the lifts that I just picked, and your accessory work could be done with bands and body weight or whatever. They're not as important. So I really like that about this for the two reasons. You could do it from home or from the shed or wherever, or when you go into the gym, you're not queuing and changing equipment and supersetting things and going all over the place. You come into your rack, you come in, you grab your barbell, you grab your plates, you're ready to go for the next however long it takes. And that is pretty much Jim Wendler's 531. Before I go, just making a point, there is a difference between program and workouts. So if people say they're great at programming workouts or great at writing a program, there is a difference. And this has all the aspects of a program and a great program. A program is something that includes frequency, it includes thought, it includes progression, it makes place for, that it's not extremely regimented. This leaves it open for you to pick the accessory work. It gives you your percentages. It's very simple to follow, very effective, and I just think it's a great program to follow for anyone who's struggling to kind of pick what to do. Gyms will be opening soon again. They have opened in the UK and up north and whatever, but this is something to kind of think about when you're starting back, is what program are you going to do. What you definitely don't want to do is just run in and jump and do an extremely heavy program, or go in and do your 5 sets of 10 or some German volume training or anything like that. You want your program to be progressive and you want it to be sustainable, and this has everything. So I hope this has helped. Again, if you have any questions, I will be covering lots more topics. I hope to get a few more videos up this week, and yeah, that's everything. I'll leave my Instagram handle below. Thank you.